home for a couple minutes. Him and I can.
And right into the stretch. Looking back and throws up the middle. Rose is on his way around. Picked up by Otis.
Here comes the ready or not. Here comes the boys from the south. Here comes the ready or not. How you like me now? I say, here comes the boom, ready or not. Here comes the boys from the south. Boom, here comes the boom, ready or not. How you like me now?
You don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati.
You are watching live to Rally Around the Natty. I'm bald. The best podcast this side of Gillette Stadium, I guess. What? We have Big Savage Greg, Flat Top, and yours truly, me.
Sorry.
There was an accident. It'll be
He just
back.
accidentally shaved himself.
You look clean.
You look good, man. No, it looks good.
Boy, Jabba the Hutt.
So
What
how
are
we
we talking about here? We're in no
David-
man's land right now.
David Bell's the best manager in the league right now, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. David Bell.
No, let's stir the pot a little bit. Greg's not going to like this one.
Stir the pot. Let's go.
If Greg wants to fight us, he can. But Bengo Dad and I are on the same page, so he just might want to sit back. I think we can all agree that Ellie is an amazing natural talent.
Oh, here we go.
Did I say anything wrong?
No, I'm kidding. No,
Did
no,
I
I'm just going-
say anything wrong?
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Okay. He is hitting for league average this year. League average is about 240. Okay? He's an exceptional base stealer. He's stolen almost 80 bases in his first year in Major League Baseball. You got to be doing something right to do that. He has a gifted arm in terms of strength. He does not know where it's going. And he can't catch a cold in a courthouse. Call it what it is. Ton of errors. He's 22 years old and he's going to put it together. I know he will. But at the moment, I am tired of hearing how fucking great he is. He is a member of a subpar team. He does a lot of bad. He does a lot of good. He does a lot of great. He is not an MVP candidate. He probably would not be a Rookie of the Year candidate. He is a 240 hitter who runs like the wind, who can't field a baseball. People need to cool their jets. Yes,
it's almost like you described somebody not as good as Billy Hamilton.
Hey, Snoop Dogg. Did you see Snoop Dogg's reaction to him making that play over the weekend?
It was a good play. And that's about where it ends with me.
Everybody, and I am guilty of this. I stop everything when he comes up because it is a can't miss moment. But most of his moments I'd love to miss.
Because he misses the ball.
My coworker rips on Ellie a lot. Look, guy, I know it's no secret. He still has to get together.
I'm not ripping on Ellie.
No, not ripping, but just like,
No. I'm not ripping on Ellie. I'm ripping on the people that make him out to be God's begotten son. Oh, we got to extend him now. He's a 237 hitter.
Yeah.
We do not have to extend him now.
I saw a comment the other day on Twitter that said, this is a 100-loss team if Ellie's not on it.
No, you
Well,
extend
they're like a
him
90-loss team with him.
You extend him now before he gets good.
Okay, you have to have an agent agree to that.
Well, I'm sure
His agent won't.
As long as his agent's not Dave Mulgett, I have confidence in that.
No. But to Dad's point, there was a comment out there that said, if they don't have Ellie, they're a 100-loss team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're pacing for 90, 95 with Ellie. And he's on the offense, and the starting pitching has been great.
Right.
So it's
the offense that's letting this team down.
He's not making that great of a contribution.
Okay, 2 of the top 5 hitters go into the Red season. You have Marte, who made a very bad decision, and McLean. You could argue those are 3 or 4 top 5 players right now that are not on the team. That's like almost losing on the Bengals. Think of losing AJ. Is this fair to say Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? That's what it's almost like losing.
Oh, it's losing two weapons for sure. But what we're saying is we're tired of some of these people that put Ellie on this pedestal that he can do no wrong. That he is this amazing, great. He is a great talent.
Oh yeah,
but there's a difference between talent and good baseball player.
Here's another stat I saw, and this is to be people are reaching. No longer does he strike out 32% of the time or whatever. It's like 25 or 26. Like that's supposed to be something beneficial. That's not good.
No.
I mean, striking out 26% of the time is not good. If you're going to get 600 at bats, you're going to strike out 150 times.
Mm-mm.
That's striking out for a month and a half.
Or do we trust the people that are teaching Ellie? Maybe he doesn't have the right coach. I don't know.
No, there's guys like that on every team.
Ellie is fine. He's just a ball player.
You got to let him cook still.
He's not a Tawny.
Right.
I mean,
you got to let him cook still. Keep letting him cook.
We're not, Greg. I think there's a disconnect.
Cook.
I think there's a disconnect. We don't have an issue with Ellie.
Right.
We have an issue with people acting like he's a top 5 baseball player on this team.
But fans do that all the time. Look, no, I get that. I understand that. I think people get overly excited, but that's very – I mean, we can't be shocked by that with the talent he has. I agree with that.
It's just annoying every single day to see the same things, acting like he's the greatest gift on the planet. And he may be at some point, but right now he's an average hitter. He's a plus base runner. He's a bad defensive player. And if you want to go the sabermetric route, which I really don't like new age metrics, we'll go the WAR route. He's in a 3-way tie with who was it? It was 3 Reds. It was Abbott, him, and another one of our starting pitchers, Lodolo, for 2.
Damn.
I don't think anybody would have. If you'd have said who's your favorite player between Abbott and Ellie, everybody would have been like, "Oh, Ellie." Well, Abbott plays 1/5 of the games and has made just as much of a contribution.
I will give you a rip on Ellie. How many? I would love to know, and there's somebody out there that can look this stuff up. In his now probably 165 games as a Red, how many times has he got a hit in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning or extra innings that either tied the game or put the Reds ahead? I'd venture to say I could count them on one hand. I could probably count them on one finger. He doesn't ever get big hits. All his good stuff either happens on the base paths or it happens in the first half of a game.
Let me tell you guys this, though. The Reds right now, they're just happy they're selling tickets with Ellie right now. I mean, we can agree with on that, right? I don't think they care how – do you guys honestly think they care how he's doing right now? Because you know what they're thinking? I mean, am I not telling the truth?
I don't even think they should be selling tickets, quite frankly. They're a losing team.
They're fortunate that they're getting the crowds that they're getting, but again, they're not capitalizing on what they've got. Because this window, everybody talks about the Bengals window with Burrow. This window is going to close really fast on the Reds, and we're going to be back to that abysmal baseball again.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. We kind of just started mid-season last year. I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Well, once they start getting arbitration, I mean, Ellie's going to get $20 million in arbitration. They're not going to want to pay that.
At absolute max, your window is about 3.5 to 4 years from this moment, and then it's shut. If you go back and just look at the patterns that the Reds have, right? Go back to the era where it was Brandon Phillips and Joey Votto and Jay Bruce and all that, right? That true window was from about 2009 to 2013, and then they had a ton of losing seasons.
Oh, yeah.
The biggest problem.
That window ended a decade ago. We're still getting over it.
The biggest
we had that 2020 year, we got screwed because of COVID. We had a World Series ready team that 2020 season.
They couldn't hit.
No, they went into the playoffs. They got shut out for 22 innings.
Yeah, no, I know.
Or whatever that was.
Yeah. We had a good. That was our year to win the World Series.
The biggest problem with the Reds is they don't know how to manufacture runs. They're very unfundamentally sound, so they don't push runners over. They have a hard time bunting runners over. They did something today, and I've probably watched, I'd say 85% of all the innings this year. It's the first time this year they tried a hit and run. First time. It's what, game 75? This is a team that can't score runs, and you're going to hit and run one time?
Yeah, with the speed they have, they should be doing that way more.
I mean, David Bell just sits back and watches the game. And I think half the time, I think he forgets what's going on in the game. You know, when you make a decision a couple nights ago to bring in the gasoline man, Sims, in a 2-out, nobody on situation in the 6th inning, and you got Cruz ready to come in, and he elects to go with Sims, no wonder they lose baseball games.
But
You can't pick your worst pitchers.
But Lance McAllister made a good point on Twitter. A buddy of mine sent me this. 7 errors. Look at all the errors they've gotten. Is that really David Bell's fault with them getting errors left and right?
This is what I've said, and I'll always say it. If you have a poor fundamental team, whether that is base running, fielding, whatever, fundamentals are a direct reflection of your head coach.
Yes, they
or
are.
your manager.
It's what they expect.
The same damn way everybody likes to give Zach Taylor praise for the fact that the Bengals are the least penalized team every year. It comes down to fundamentals and doing your job the right way.
It's what you stress. It's what you stress in practice. What do they always say the Reds stress? Base running. Oh, everybody goes first and third in the minor leagues. And that's why they're a good base running team. That's the only thing they really do consistently right on offense.
It's like
running the bases.
There's like 10 things that you should practice on a daily basis. You know, it's like the Reds picked 2 of them. And they're really good at those 2, and they're really at all the other ones.
They cannot.
Do you think a new manager would make that big of a difference?
It very well could.
It depends who the guy is.
Who is it though? Who would it be? I don't even know.
Here's the thing. I'll answer this with a like a 2-way part. If it's somebody that has played for the Reds or works for the Reds currently, if it's somebody like Barry Larkin, absolutely not.
Right.
No, because their job's safe. There's no uneasiness. There's no fire that's going to be lit under their ass, and part of that's going to come from the front office. If they would bring in somebody, and I'm not saying I want this guy, but every single place the guy goes, Bruce Bochy's teams are just solid. And he's got a new guy on a roster every year for the last 30 years, but every single time his team is rock fucking solid. That's not a coincidence.
I'll give you an example.
La Russa's teams were the same way, all the way back to the A's.
Here's an example of expectation, and if winning is really all that important. A few nights ago, and I still can't get over this one. I'll be complaining about this for years. Stuart Fairchild with 2 outs in the top of the 9th inning on a flare to center field takes 2 steps and turns and looks over his right shoulder to see if the guy's going to catch the ball, and it cost him 2 or 3 steps. He gets thrown out at the plate to end the game, then that would have been the tying run. The next day, Stuart Fairchild's in the starting lineup. He'd be on the bench for a week. I'd play with 23 players. Somebody's got to set an example that that's not how we play the game. I don't think Stuart Fairchild knew how many outs there were.
Now, Tyler Stevenson, I've been paying too much attention to the Reds, not going to lie to you guys. Tyler Stevenson, I heard, has been playing a lot better. Is that true?
He what?
Tyler Stevenson.
He did what?
Has he been playing a lot better? Is that true?
Yeah, he's hitting the ball the other way. He's playing a lot better.
Okay, I've been told he's been doing really well.
Yeah, that's why Malley's not getting any playing time.
Oh, I was never a big fan. No, he's not a bad player. I just wish we had a better backup catcher than Matt. I know it's hard to find a good hitting catcher. That's why Stevenson's very valuable right now.
It's just this team is so average at best. They can't overcome mistakes. And they make mistakes night in and night out. And they make a number of mistakes night in and night out. They rarely play a clean game.
Let me ask you guys this. The MLB draft is coming up. I know this is draft, but we have number 2 pick. Do you draft a guy thinking he could contribute this season? Or is that even possible?
I would never draft a guy thinking they could contribute this season.
Okay, that's just
in any scenario.
Who was it? Mike Leake that he contributed, I believe.
That is so rare. So rare. And even he, when he got up here, was okay.
Yeah, just keep him. We just had to keep him out of Macy's, and we were good to go.
Yeah.
When they played the Brewers, I must have heard 3 or 4 times on the broadcast throughout that series. Man, these guys just make plays. The Brewers are just so fundamentally sound. They just make plays.
Well, they were supposed to restart. They got rid of all their good players. We thought we weren't going to have to worry about them anymore, and look what they're doing right now.
It's because they're well coached.
Maybe it's Craig Counsell. Maybe Craig Counsell says this is how we play a game.
He certainly doesn't teach them how to bat, how he had raised his hands up like this. That was the weirdest batting stance ever. But no, he drove me nuts times. But no, you're right. Counsell, he lost all of his great players, and he's still managing well.
I just don't think, guys, the Reds play hard. I'm not saying they don't play hard, but I don't think they feel like there's any consequence for their actions. I mean, to show how unfundamentally sound they are, when you're in Little League, I still remember my coach 45 years ago, 50 years ago, saying to me, don't ever make an error off an error. If you bobble the ball, don't make a bad throw as a result of it. Just eat it or straighten up and make a true throw. I saw the Reds have done it 3 times this year where there's been 2 errors on the same play on the same player, where they've bobbled it and thrown the ball away. That's poor coaching.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when they do something like that, are they even being talked about it after that inning? Or is it just like, I'm not going to say anything because I'll mess up his head for the rest of the game?
Do you guys like how he handles the batting order? Because Dusty, one thing that drove me nuts about Dusty, he never messed with the batting order, and that always drove me nuts. Does David Bell, do you guys think he messes with it too much, or should it be stay put at that?
I think he overmanages during the game.
Right. I think his lineups are fine.
The lineups I don't have too much of an issue with, but also when you've got the guys that you have, it's kind of hard to screw up the lineup. I mean, if you told me he was going to adjust it tomorrow and, any one of 8 guys was going to be leading off, I'd be like, okay, yeah, they might need it. If you told me Benson was leading off, or you told me Fraley was leading off, or Fairchild, or Marte's first game back, he's leading off, or I know it was a disaster, but they're going to do it one day for Ellie because he has been hitting better, I would understand it. It's kind of hard for David Bell to mess up the lineup. His issue is the 6th inning comes around and here comes a lefty, and I've got to wholesale change my entire lineup and screw myself if they go from lefty, righty, lefty later in the game.
Well,
that's where he becomes an idiot.
Yeah, and again, I'm probably picking at things at this point, but doesn't there have to be somebody in the minor leagues that's a little better than Hurtubise? That guy was good in the minor leagues, but he is so overmatched. He's running out of the box. I know that's his style, but it's not working. He got a few hits early on, but holy cow, he's probably hitting under 100.
Is this Brandon Larson?
His last 20, 25 at-bats.
Is this Brandon Larson 2.0 pretty much?
I wouldn't call it Brandon Larson because I had no expectation for this kid.
Yeah, there was expectation with Brandon Larson hitting 40 home
all
runs
I
in
heard
the
all offseason was how this kid's going to be, a secret weapon, and watch out for this kid. And I'm looking at track records because that's the thing I look at if I don't know who a baseball player is. He was going on like 24 years old, which is older for a rookie. That's if you had a 24-year-old rookie in the NFL, you'd be slamming on the brakes because your development's gone. It's very similar in Major League Baseball. If you're not up there by 23, 24, I'm not saying they all need to be 21 and 19 because that's just not the case.
Right.
But the guys that come up later, I don't necessarily have high expectations for. If I can get a couple solid years out of them, great. But for the most part, I think, he'll platoon. And
what the Reds
that's
are
just
missing,
where I was at.
What the Reds are missing is veteran leadership in that offense.
Yeah.
Candelario is obviously playing very, very well now. And one of the better hitters, even though his average doesn't indicate it, but he gives you veteran leadership, is Espinal. When he comes up there, I'm not scared to death that he's just going to strike out every time. He hits the ball the other way. He's fundamentally sound. He's solid on defense. They need a couple veteran, like when they had Kevin Newman. They need a couple players like that.
Miguel
Keep
Cairo.
the ball, keep the train going.
Miguel Cairo, wasn't a big,
Right.
but he was such a great leader, though, for the team.
They need a couple guys that aren't going to cost them a ton of money that you can put in there instead of Hurtubise. And God forbid, I love Benson. Benson hasn't hit a lick since Votto left this team.
Yeah, Benson. Oof.
All he does is strike out. It doesn't matter if the pitch is low, down the middle, or high. He just strikes out. And they keep running him out there.
Well, when I was at the Reds game, I noticed a lot of guys love to swing for the fences. Some of the games I've been to, there'd be a run or two on base, and this guy just wants to end the game swinging for the fences. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys would know baseball better than I do, but a lot of times, you like Benson, a lot of times he just wants to, and that's fine and all, but man, he's just ready to knock it out of the park, though. But I mean,
The issue is that swing is now taught.
Yeah.
It's called a plane of glass drill, and I hate it because what ends up happening is you have. I need to go for a minute. I'll be back here soon.
so that's fine.
The thing about Benson, and they said this the other night on the telecast, they said he loses sleep laying in bed telling himself to hit the ball the other way.
Right.
He doesn't hit the ball the other way. And I don't know if Barry Larkin stresses it all the time. It like a broken record that need to let the ball travel. And he always talks about it on every telecast. I don't know if everybody understands the concept behind that, but there's a few things that happen when you letting the ball travel just means don't be so quick to swing. Be happy hitting the ball up the middle or hitting the right field. What happens is it gives you more time, i.e. it's only a split second, but it gives you a little more time to see where that ball's actually traveling. And then when you swing just a tad bit late or you're right on the plate with it, not pulling it, the fat part of your bat hits the ball more often. So your barrel hits the bat more often when you let the ball travel. That's why every single time Stevenson hits a ball to right field, he seems to hit a rocket somewhere because it's hitting the fat part of his bat. And when he pulls it, he's so far ahead of it, all the power's already gone, and it's deflecting off the barrel of the bat.
Jesse Winker was another one that could really hit the ball both sides of the field. He was good. Like when you saw Jay Bruce, Adam Dunn, Griffey, all they had to do was just send their second baseman into right field. You were good to go. You just see this opening line here at third base, and I just think to myself, maybe I'm just an amateur, but why don't they try just to tap it in the third base line? That's a base hit right there.
And going back to Ellie, when Ellie hits the ball up the middle and the other way, that's when you see his average start to climb.
Yes.
And he gets on base more often. Then he steals bases. Then he wreaks havoc. And it's just all pulling the ball is ego.
Right.
That's all it is. If they would check their ego and play the game more like the Cleveland Indians, that team went to the right, went opposite field all the time.
I'm going to drop some knowledge on you. I'm going to drop some angle knowledge on you.
Okay.
And this is gonna blow your mind. You ready?
I'll go for it.
If you hit as a right-handed hitter a ground ball to second and a ground ball to short,
Right.
okay, it means you were late and early the same amount of time. It means you didn't hit it right. Being late and being early are both a problem. Hitting the ball the other way is an art. Hitting line drives, but pulling the ball on the ground and hitting a ground ball the other way, it's like everybody's like, oh, he was late on that one. Well, being early and hammering it straight into your front foot's the same thing.
Yeah.
The
majority of pitchers in baseball pitch away. There's only a handful of pitchers that constantly pound you inside. So if they're going to pitch you away, hit the ball where it's pitched. They just don't do it. They did that last year in June when this team was the darling of Major League Baseball. Everybody was hitting the ball the other way, and then the egos just start.
It's not like it's an acquired talent. It's a mentality.
It's exactly what
just push the ball. It's all it is. I mean, I hate saying this. It makes me sound like I know hitting more than a professional coach, and I don't.
Right.
But I can vividly remember being in high school, and my dad was my hitting coach, high school, middle school, whatever. And we would be in the cages hitting anywhere from, we used to hang around 70 to 85 is when I would hit toward the very, very height.
Right.
And I was a switch hitter, and he would say, hit the ball to left field, hit the ball to right field, hit the ball up the middle, hit a ground ball, hit it to the right side. There's something to be said about being able to control where the ball goes. Granted, easier when it's 85 down the can as opposed to, looking fastball and getting a slider on the outside corner. But it's not a hard concept.
It's an approach.
It's
It's
just
what it is. It's your
I
approach.
mean, we hear the story all the time. I mean, you've told it to me several times about Pete Rose in the batting cage, where the guy, he fouled one straight back. And our friend was like, I can't believe you fouled one straight back. Never thought you'd see you do that. And Pete turned around, looked at him, and said he wanted to see me do it again. And he fouled it straight back again. It's just about understanding where the bat head is going to be and where you want to put the ball. It's no different than throwing a baseball. It's just extended with a bat. You hit behind runners. It's just the way it makes it really hard on a defense when you hit behind runners. Put the ball in play. Don't strike out. Don't pop up. You don't look to pull the ball. When you look to pull the ball, that's when your mechanics get all messed up.
And that was what they did last year because everybody said the Reds are playing small ball. And small ball works.
Small ball's
Speed.
the right way to play baseball.
Yeah,
It's work.
speed and moving runners along, and it's exciting baseball. It brought fans back to the game.
If
The
you
speed.
look at every era of baseball, every single era, where right now I think we're in the live ball era or whatever the hell they
Well, it's
call
not live ball this year.
it. Well, yeah, it's a little.
They
right now.
they softened it up again.
Well, and then even if you go back to the summer of '96 or whatever it was, '96 or '98, whatever it was.
I think it was 98. Sosa
Yeah.
and McGuire and all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then, you go back even into the '90s, and then you go back into the '70s and the '50s and the '40s and the dead ball era. What's the one brand of baseball that has constantly bred winners through, regardless of the era, regardless of the team, for the last 90 years? Small ball. The best teams know how to manufacture runs because you know what you can do every single inning is manufacture a run if you do it right. And you don't even have to get 3 and 4 hits. You don't have to walk. You don't have to hope the pitcher makes a mistake. You don't have to look for an error. You don't have to have a fucking launch angle of 23 degrees and an exit velocity of 102 miles an hour to do it. There's ways to score.
I keep going back to last year's team. And if you guys remember, every inning it was a threat
It was fun.
because everybody was just hitting the ball the other way, hitting it up the middle. They were taking the extra base. They were applying so much pressure to the other team. And yeah, they're missing that without McLean and without Strand and without Marte. Yeah, they're missing it, but it doesn't mean the other players can't
But
have that same approach.
It's a mentality is all it is. You think Stuart Fairchild can't wait half a second and hit a line drive to the right side instead of pulling it? I mean, the guy that exemplifies it the most on the entire roster is Stevenson, and he drives me insane because he either hits a ground ball to third or a ringing double to right center field. And it's like, if he would just constantly look, and I know that it's a thing in the clubhouse because they talk about it on the broadcast. If you constantly look to drive the ball into the opposite gap, your mechanics stay flush.
All
When
they
you're
need
trying
to
to
do,
pull the ball, everything comes apart.
all they need to do is look the other way. And if the ball happens to be inside, just like you adjust to the curveball from the fastball, always look fastball, but adjust to the curveball. Look away, but adjust inside. Only pull the ball when it's inside, which is probably only going to be about 15 to 20% of the time.
Also, since we're
Play the
going-
odds.
since we're going down the old men yelling at clouds route of my generation of baseball sucks, I'm going to say this too. RBIs matter.
Yes, they do.
There was like a 10-year period where everybody was convinced that stat didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
And right-handed batters are allowed to hit against right-handed pitchers and vice versa. I can't stand when it's, there was a game. It was one of the last few games of Joey Votto's career as a Red, where it had been lefty on lefty, and they pinch hit for him for some scrub right-handed AAA guy, and I was like, man, I was like, can you believe they just did that to Joey? And it's like, well, it's lefty versus lefty. I'm like, I don't give a shit.
If you're that good,
Do you think Barry Bonds cared if it was a left-handed pitcher?
Lefty versus lefty and righty versus righty gets neutralized when you hit the ball the other way. Just ask Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn went left center field all day long.
Yeah, but
Didn't matter who was pitching.
by the way, since we're talking old time baseball, let's send our condolences, Willie Mays. I mean, we agree.
Oh,
Was he the best? Was my dad told me my dad grew up in LA, a Dodger fan, so Willie Mays was a rival. He claims Willie Mays was the best baseball player of all time. I think that's pushing it. He's definitely in the top 10, right?
I mean,
He's
it's
probably in the top
it's a-
three.
Right.
It's
Probably
a
top
conversation to be had. I don't know how you.
I liked Hank Aaron. I was a bigger fan of Hank Aaron, but I knew he was better than Hank Aaron.
Hank wasn't as
Hank
on
Aaron
defense.
wasn't as good defensively
No.
and didn't have the foot speed.
No, he was better all around. I just liked Hank Aaron, but no, Willie Mays. I mean, you could make a strong case, I guess, right?
Keep in mind, and there's it. I guess it's apropos to mention this now that it's Juneteenth as well, because we've also had Major League Baseball adopt all of the Negro League stats into their official record books. There's like 2 or 3 years where we don't have his stats. Keep in mind, right before he got to Major League Baseball, where he was in the Negro Leagues,
Mhm.
and he's sitting at 660 before those numbers. He very well could be a 700 home run guy.
Easily.
I mean, that's something to think about too. And he missed a year to go serve in the military.
Right.
I mean, there's to think about what he accomplished, when he accomplished it, who he accomplished it against. To me, he's a top 2 center fielder of all time, and it's just between him and Mantle, and I don't know which way I lean.
I was just dumbfounded. He never won a World Series. I never knew that. Never won one World Series.
And he's got a highlight reel catch that's lasted for generations, and it
In
will
the World
always be
Series.
yeah.
In the World Series.
Raise your hand if you practiced that catch as a kid. Yeah, all of us. At that field, too. I mean, he was like 800 feet away from home plate. But it's awful. Luckily, we didn't lose him young. And I know that sounds kind of like a bargaining thing, but he lived a long life at 93, a decorated life, a beloved life. I think everybody, when they saw that I was laying in bed, I don't even remember what I was doing because it stopped me dead in my tracks when it said Willie Mays died. And I was like, oh,
I was laying in bed too.
Does anybody? Well, I'm probably the only one that remembers the cartoon, the Willie Mays cartoon as a kid.
What?
no, I
It's
don't.
called the Say Hey Kid.
No way.
I
Yeah, they had a
know who
cartoon.
Willie Mays Hayes is. But
Yeah, no, Willie Mays Hayes, I do know. Yeah.
Yeah, the Say Hey Kid. There was a cartoon.
Did you, Mangle Dad? Did you ever get to see Willie Mays play? Or
I saw it on TV at the end of his career because he actually played in the '73 playoffs against the Reds.
he played for the Mets near the
He
end.
was a Met. He
Yeah.
was a Met that year. Yeah.
I'm
Does
trying to-
anybody? Not Tyler or Son. I've already said this to you. Do you know who his godson is?
Yeah,
Barry Bonds.
Yes.
Greg's a fucking Rolodex. You're not gonna.
I want to know about Bobby Bonds. Was he any? Didn't he play with Willie Mays? How did they know each other?
That had to be how they knew each other. Bobby
Okay.
Bonds played with the Giants.
Yeah, my dad was a huge Dodger fan. If I had to hear the name Don Drysdale one more time, I swear that was my dad's favorite player was Don Drysdale. He was a sidearm pitcher and all that, but he
I knew him more for being on the Brady Bunch.
Oh yeah, there you remember that episode, huh?
Yeah, Don Drysdale was on the Brady Bunch. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Oh my God.
That was my dad's favorite player, though, Don Drysdale.
Who is the here? We'll have a little more lighthearted conversation.
All right.
Who is the most, I guess, famous baseball player you ever got to see play an actual game?
Mark McGuire. No, Albert Pujols.
It feels weird to say that, but he's going to
He's
get out
a
as
top 10 player.
The
I
most,
can't
the
say he's
most
a Red
famous?
I can't say he's a Red Sox
famous,
player.
legendary, whatever. Something that is going to go down in baseball. I mean, I watched 100 games against Pujols, I'm sure. You know,
He's not a Reds killer because he killed everybody. It's Albert Pujols to me. He's a top 10. Is it? Am I push? I know he went to the Angels. He was never the same, but man, he is a top 10 player of all time. You could argue.
Didn't he get to 700 or damn close? because there was a
How
push
many
for
home
it
runs
toward the
did
end.
Albert Pujols have?
He was right on the edge. I think he
703.
Yeah, he got it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I can say that I watched a guy. I mean,
Right when he got up to 2000, he was a problem for us for like, ugh.
I mean that's a good one to try and think past.
I mean,
especially
I've
for
seen
my
I've seen a
generation.
ton of great baseball players play.
I mean,
Well,
Barry Bonds, you could throw in there. You could throw in.
I'm kind of
McGwire.
partial though.
What?
I know you're partial.
It's Pete Rose.
Yeah. I wish I could have seen
I mean,
him.
Saw him at a
talking
softball game.
No.
People are gonna know who Pete Rose was 100 years from now.
Ken
You know who
Griffey
they're not
Jr.
gonna know who? You know who they're not gonna know? Ken Griffey Jr.
Yes. Ken
He's an
Griffey.
enigma. He's fading away, but they will always know who Pete Rose is.
Ken Griffey, you could argue, all century.
Does Griffey even have any records? Does he have any all-time records? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Don't think so.
Great ball player until he came here and got fat.
Hey, you got to give him credit. He never took steroids. You got to give him credit.
No, I give him credit for that, but he never worked out either. He could have set all the records, and when he got to the Reds, he cashed it in.
Bengal Dad, were you? That was one of my favorite moments as a Reds fan my entire life. Were you happy, or were you kind of on the like? I don't know about this.
No, I was ecstatic. I wanted him.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I've been damn lucky to really, in the short amount of time, retrospectively, that I've actually watched baseball.
Right.
Call it since 2005, 2004. So maybe 20 years. I mean, I've seen just guys that I've seen live play the game. Junior, Bonds, Clemens. I know there's a lot of steroid guys in there. Sosa, McGuire. I mean, there's a lot of them that I got to see at a very, very young age. Votto. I mean, he's going to go down as one of the better ones. Lance Berkman was destroyed.
Oh, stop it.
He was
Him
just
and Jim Edmonds. Lance Berkman and Jim Edmonds, I could not stand. Although I liked Edmonds when he got here to help us get in the playoffs, but I could not stand.
I remember probably being 10 years old, I think, and seeing a doubleheader against the Astros where it was Roger Clemens and Roy Oswalt pitching.
Roy Oswalt.
Dad and I are sitting there when we are going to
don't get me started. He like won,
destroyed in both of these games.
Didn't he win 20? Roy Oswalt win like 20 in a row against us or something?
I know he hit a wiffle ball over Disney World. Saw that live.
Oh yeah, and that guy for the Brewers. I can't. I'm thinking.
Don't even go there.
Okay. I couldn't believe you guys remembered him when I brought that up that one time. I thought that was the only one that knew.
No.
Bill Hall. Oh yeah. He drove you guys nuts too. Okay.
I believe Bill Hall hit a walk-off home run against the Reds in the same game that Brandon Larson in the ninth inning booted the ball at third.
We were up by like 9 runs in that like 8th or 9th inning. We were up by like 9 runs and we blew the game.
Brooks Connor.
I'm trying to think of. I mean, obviously I've seen a ton.
You know who never scared me though? Prince Fielder. I thought the Reds always did well against Prince Fielder. He never really scared me that much. Did
I remember we were at a Reds game one time. It was a Reds Brewers game, and Prince was playing first, and Junior was leading off, and I guess he tripped on a pickoff, and Prince fell on Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh.
I thought he about snapped him in half. He couldn't
Well, no,
get up.
I heard Prince Fielder. Was it true that he said he was a vegetarian or something? And
Hot dogs are a vegetable, sure.
yeah. No, he was a good player, but I remember he never really gave us any problems, though, from my understanding.
No, the guy that used to bother that first off, that Brewers lineup in like 2005 still gives me nightmares.
Oh yeah,
because you had Prince, you had Ricky Weeks, you had Bill Hall,
yeah.
you had Cliff Lee, which he always
Not
did
about him.
us. Jeff Jenkins was a pain in the ass. You had Brandon Webb just throwing sinkers all damn day, and you couldn't
Richie
touch
Sexton.
him. Yeah, Sexton was a problem.
Yeah.
It was. I don't know how that team didn't win a series.
You want to know what team? Think of the 90. Remember when we played Cleveland? Manny Ramirez, Richie Sexton, Travis Fryman, Omar Vizquel, Roberto, Sandy Alomar. How the hell did that team never win a World Series?
Probably a bad manager. The theme of our episode.
Buck Showalter, I think, was the manager, wasn't he? Or
He was not anything special.
but how do you not want to? Well, no, Derek Jeter. No, it was that fan that interfered with the Derek Jeter home run, wasn't it? They were playing the or no, that was the Marlins.
We're getting a little too old for me now, Greg.
Yeah, that kid's last name was Mayer.
There you go. No, so you don't know the story to this, Santori. It was in the World Series. Derek Jeter hits a home run, but the fan clearly reached over and interfered, and they called it a home run, and they were ticked. It was against the Orioles. That's who it was.
I think the outfielder was it Danny Tartable?
You would know better than I would.
I think so. I can't quite remember.
Hey, let's have some fun with this. I got trivia for you. Denny Nagel was supposed to pitch that playoff game for the Mets, but they needed him to win that Brewers game. Who ended up pitching for the Reds that day against Al Leiter, who destroyed us in that one-game playoff?
Steve Harris.
Nobody ever remembers Steve Harris hardly. I thought I was.
Denny Nagel came in relief.
Yeah. That's when Sean Casey struck out and broke his bat. That's the one time I've literally seen Sean Casey ever lose his temper.
That game, the offense that game looked like what we're seeing every day with the Reds.
Well, no, Al Leiter, though, was a great pitcher, though. I mean, we have to, that was still a good pitcher.
I don't think Al Leiter's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I think Al Leiter just really pitched well in that game. He was a good pitcher for a few years.
I want to play a game before we move on to football here.
All right.
Because we're going a little off the rails a little bit.
Okay.
We're just talking about bad memories, and we just don't need to keep doing that.
No, I didn't mean that. It was just fun to have memories.
Greg, I want you to play the game that you play with me, and we're going to do it with Dad live and see if he can figure it out.
Just don't make it food. I struggle with food.
No. Greg
Pop
gives
Tart.
me the back of a baseball card and deletes the position, the name, and I have to guess who it is.
Okay. Do you want me to? Could it be a Reds player? Or could it be any player from any team?
We'll stick with Reds for now.
So we have to go back to 2004. We can't go anything before that.
Yeah, go 2004 and on, because that's what I know.
Xavier Paul, buddy.
Yeah, he got me on Xavier Paul.
It was you and Gabe 513. None of you can figure that out. Okay, I'm gonna have some fun with this.
What is that?
Food.
What is it?
Actually,
it was mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, and baked beans.
Give them 2 side dishes, huh?
You got anything to eat though? I mean, is there any meat in there?
There were hot dogs cut up in the beans. There's beanies and weenies.
That's like a little kid thing there.
Or poor people. I mean, that's kind of where we're at. And I don't get filet mignon on the smoker every night,
I got one here for you, but I totally forgot about this dude's name. Okay, I'll send it to both of you.
Greg, send it on Twitter, and then what I'll do is I'll put it up here on the screen for everybody to see so they can see what we're looking at.
Okay, hold on, give me a sec. I'll if it'll let me.
Just a screenshot. It should just go in a DM.
No. Give me 1 second. All right, save the photos. Okay, so mail to the Rally Twitter. Okay. Oh, you said I'm going to be a jerk to you today. I'm sorry.
Listen, I pulled D'Angelo Jimenez out of my ass last time.
Well, you did. You really did. I mean, dude, it's like I'm going to say D'Angelo Jimenez. I'm like, God dang it. All right, it's sent.
All right.
Hey, what do you think about it? I'm going to go get
I better go full screen if I'm expected to read something.
Man, Greg, I said the Reds starting in 2004. He picks a 20-year career that ends in 2004.
Hey, you said 2004.
Oh, my God. All right. Can everybody see that or not?
Oh, well, I can't. How do I blow that up? Control plus? Okay.
All right. So started in Montreal in 91.
Yep.
Went to Colorado, then San Diego, Pittsburgh, the Giants, New York, Milwaukee. Played 1 year at the age 38 with the Reds.
Yep.
Never really a home run threat.
What is TOT?
Total? Meaning he played for 2 teams.
Oh.
So in 01, he played for Pittsburgh and the Giants. He split
All right,
the season.
so he played for Montreal and Colorado, Padres, Pirates,
I'm sorry.
Giants, Mets, Milwaukee, and 1 year with the Reds in 04.
He played 40 games with the Reds. He got 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, 6 hits. I'm supposed to remember somebody from 20 years ago who got 6 hits.
Well, you said 2004.
Oh my god.
You want me to tell you?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Can I give you one tiny hint that may help in somewhat?
Sure.
He's got like a 2-syllable last name.
A 2-syllable last name?
Or a hyphenated last name.
I'm pretty sure it's a 2-syllable last. Let me look him up. Now I'm really curious.
You have a 2-syllable last name,
Yeah.
Greg.
Okay, it's like a 2-worded last name.
So it's hyphenated.
I guess you could. Let me look at this up so I'm not lying to you.
Or is it something Spanish where it's like Los somebody?
Okay. There's no hyphen or anything, but it's like a 2-syllable. It really is. It's like a 2-worded last name. So there's 2 words, but no hyphen.
Okay.
No.
It's not a pitcher.
Not him. Kim's trying to Google it over here.
Hey, Kim, stop that.
But she don't have it. Oh man, I'm focusing on that 2000 Pirate team.
Wait, now some teams do have him. Okay, here we go. Let me see this picture right here.
24 home runs in the year 2000.
I'm such a jackass.
I mean, he definitely was not.
Didn't the Giants make the series in 01 or is that 02?
Okay, he holds the modern Major League Baseball single record for pinch hits with 28 in 1995. In 2007, Ichiro almost equaled his record, but finished with 27 pinch hits.
He was on the Blake Street Bombers.
Yeah.
For Colorado. So he was on the team with Galarraga.
Listen to this.
Bichette.
In his career there. He contributed 129 pitch hits, which is one of the highest modern era behind Lenny Harris's 2012, 202 pinch hits. I'm not expecting you guys. Come on. I mean, no.
Man, this is tough. I'm still focusing on the guy who went to Pittsburgh and freaking blew it up. He must have been a steroid guy because he went from hitting 5 and 6 home runs a year to 24 right away.
It says he never took steroids.
That's a lie. The stat sheet determined that's a lie.
No, he's not on the report or anything. No.
Who was a 1-year or basically a 2-year wonder with the Pirates?
Who was a bench player?
Then they moved him to the Giants.
Who was a bench player for us in 04?
Oh,
I don't remember that 04 team.
Well, the 04 team would have been Pena, Kearns, LaRue, Valentine, Casey, Larkin, Felipe Lopez, D'Angelo Jimenez, Joe Randa. It's a bench player for sure. I'm trying to remember the bench. Almeida. It's not him.
No,
Do
not
you
really.
remember Almeida?
You guys are digging deep into this. I'll give you guys credit for it. I mean, I don't.
Trying to back up first baseman. Aurelia, no. It's going to be like a backup shortstop or something because this guy never had power. It's going to be a middle infielder.
No, not with 24 home runs.
Well, 1 year, sure. But all the other years, at
Mania,
1, 5, 5, 5.
doubles. We don't know if he's fast because stolen bases is not on here.
Montreal.
94 RBIs. Big RBI guy for the Pirates in 2000 and I'm sorry, in 90 in 2000. I can't think of who played for the Reds in 04.
I mean, I listed half of the roster.
You guys, Bagel Dad, I know you can remember this dude's name.
Give me his initials.
Okay, this is counting the two-part last name, right?
Yeah, give me the three letters.
JVW.
You said B like boy, W?
No,
V as in vegetarian.
Van something.
VW. So Von something, Van something.
JVW.
I'm stumped.
You stumped Bengal Dad?
It's ticking. I can see it ticking.
He doesn't want to bet defeat, but he's trying. I give you credit. I mean,
I don't know.
Johnny Vanderwall.
I don't even know who that is.
I don't even remember.
Nope.
You guys remember him? He played in a video game all the time in 1997.
That was too remote.
You don't remember John Vanderwall?
I mean, kind of. I think he was blonde. Left-handed hitter, I'm thinking.
Oh, I got one for you guys. Now, this is a fun one. You guys should get this one. He doesn't have much stats, but you should get this one. I will send it in the chat. He did not play for the Reds, but what's going on here in the background?
Kyle.
No. In the clip, no. In the it's clipping on and off. Like see down low right here.
No, it's not doing it on my screen.
No, maybe it's just me. Okay, give me a sec here.
Greg freaking stumped me on that one.
Santori, come on, man.
I kind of remember the guy now a little. I think he was blonde. I think he was a left-handed hitter.
Okay, this one you guys should get.
You said this guy did not play for the Reds?
No, but you should, Santori. You will get this guy. If not, I'm really well ashamed of both of you.
Okay.
Here we go.
Let me know when you send it.
I just sent it.
I have no idea who this is, I'll be honest.
Oh, come on.
Greg, there's like 1 year of nothing here.
Yeah, but it's memorable, man. Okay, Dennis
Put
Quaid.
it on the screen?
I'm working on it.
Okay. All of our fans want to see it.
So the rookie guy.
Yes, Jim Morris.
Yeah, him.
Come on, man. I was gonna say, man, you were worrying me there, son.
Well, I never would have got that.
The only reason I got it is because he opened his mouth and said Dennis
I'm looking at a
Quaid.
team and I'm thinking it's to be determined.
That's what I
They didn't know who he played for?
yeah, I know, that's what I thought first. Tampa Bay
Okay.
Devil Rays.
All right, this one's. I'm really gonna be a jerk to you guys, but I think you guys will get this one. Well, they only play 2 seasons. Can I do that or no?
Sure. We'll do
All
one
right,
last
all
one
right.
of these.
I tell you, these guys. I swear these guys bring me back at times. I swear with myself. Okay, here we go.
Let's make this the last one. We're probably
Yeah.
losing viewership.
Oh my God.
Here we go. Just got sent. John Vanderwall.
All right, I haven't looked at any of the numbers yet. I know it just says Cincinnati Reds 03. So good luck, Dad.
God, 03. That's a blur.
But he played in 2004. You said 2004.
Yeah, for me, not him. Dad's heyday is going to be like 70 to 99.
Let's see. So the guy had no power. He didn't drive in runs. He had no speed.
He was pretty much played like crap.
He's a 200 hitter. Who is an awful player for the Reds in 03 and 04.
Do you want me to give you the initials?
Yeah.
TH. TH.
Not no 04.
Too late. Yeah. TH.
We're going to go 0 for 3 live.
Yeah, but I was being a jerk here.
What position?
He played somewhere.
He played somewhere.
Third baseman, pinch hitter, and first baseman. 6'2", 190 pounds, 188 centimeters, 86 kilograms.
These kilograms really helped me out.
Yeah.
Born in Goshen, New York, November 18th, 1978.
So a tall, skinny guy who played first and third. TH.
And he was a pinch hitter.
Not a good one. Todd Hilton. I don't know, Greg.
Bengal Dad?
Give me a second. I'm just trying to think of see if something clicks here.
It won't.
Tommy Harper.
Tim Hummel.
Who?
Tim Hummel. I remember him.
This is how we're going to keep our sports memory going. It's just Greg saying
Yeah. We
players.
yeah.
One thing I do want to share, and this is something that I've been working on that we'll put on the Patreon for Project Game Day. This is a kind of like a master set of all contract extensions. This one, I have everything for wide receivers dating back to about 2010. And it'll help you predict the next set of contracts as they come across. I'll blow that up a little bit for you. Yeah, sorry.
That ain't helping me.
There's a lot of data here. That might help.
There you go.
All right. So you can sort it by year, by team, player name, what the cap was that year, total amount of money on the contract, total years, total guaranteed, average annual value, what that average annual value was as a percentage of the cap, and then what percent of their contract was actually guaranteed. So when people say that, Justin Jefferson just had the greatest contract in the history of whatever, right? And I go and sort this column by guaranteed money. Justin Jefferson is 7th all time in a percentage of his contract to guaranteed money. That's 78%. Now, he was 13.7% of the cap at that average of, where's it at? $35 million. Still not resetting the market. We've seen higher. The average annual value, that's the highest for sure. The guaranteed money, that's the highest for sure. But we're also seeing the highest cap number we've ever seen at $255 million. I mean, it's up almost $50 million from 2 years ago.
So Jamar Chase is probably going to get a little bit less in columns I and J. Just a little bit.
My guess, yeah.
Since we're talking contracts, Bengal Dad, I'd love to hear. I know, Santori, you and I discussed a little bit. Bengal Dad, how shocked were you that what's his name? T signed the franchise tag this early?
It surprised me a little bit.
I
don't really know what difference it makes whether he signs it now or in 4 weeks. I'm just glad the Bengals got it out of the way.
He's here with the team is the difference.
Well, because so he doesn't get hurt during training camp. That would have been why.
Yeah.
Going
I
back
don't
to
know.
our,
Maybe he's trying to show a little good faith because maybe he really wants to be here. I mean, I don't know what benefit it was for him other than to put the money in the bank a month earlier and draw interest on it.
Well, he wouldn't have lost any money though if he didn't sign it. That's the thing. Now, since he signed it now, and if he holds out, he does lose money, right?
yes.
Yeah, he's
But,
not.
but it was called a contract extension. I think a lot of fans got confused. Is it the franchise tag or a contract?
Franchise tag.
What?
Yes.
I'm saying yes.
It's the franchise tag.
It goes down as a 1-year contract when you read it.
What's the difference? Is there really much of a difference?
It's guaranteed.
Okay.
So when you look at this, though, for potentially Jamar Chase, because everybody's curious, if you think he's going to get a little bit less than that guaranteed number, you kind of see where everybody's hanging around for the big receivers. My guess is 70 to 75% is going to be guaranteed. So we'll keep that number in mind. Average annual value as opposed to the cap, you're probably around 13.5% to 13%. We'll call it 13 and a quarter just to be a little bit out there. Average annual value, my guess is, well, if we're going to be at 13 and a quarter, that's going to tell us. We just need to know what the cap is. The cap next year is probably going to be $275 million at 13 and a quarter. You're looking at 36 average annual value, which is actually $1 million more than what Jefferson got.
There's the ego moment.
But it's also a less percentage of the cap. So do you care if it's an ego moment, if he's technically cheaper per cap dollar?
It's
This
all-
is
it's
where
all
you
just
split
relevant.
hairs.
it's all relevant percentage wise. It really doesn't matter.
So let's call it 13%. I know, Walter.
No.
That puts you at 35.7. I don't know if I'm going to see him go down to 12% of 275.
What's 35.7?
35.7.
What is that? Is that him and Joe?
Where do
What
you
is
see?
that?
Where do you see 35.7?
You just said 35.7, didn't you?
No,
What'd you say?
Walter.
You're being
Jesus.
recorded. I think you said 35.7.
I did not say 35.7. I said 13 and a quarter of 275 is
What?
36.4. Now, if I go down to 13% of 275, there's your 35.7.
You did say
I'll
35.7.
be right back.
That's 13%, which is a whole percent less of the cap than what Jefferson got. But it's still a higher dollar amount. That's what happens when the cap inflates as much as
Yeah,
it does.
my guess is the Bengals are probably looking out this into the future, and they're probably looking at 25 and 26, and they're probably wanting to stay at a certain percentage among the three if they were to keep the three. I think that's what I think they're probably looking at, and they've probably drawn the conclusion that they just can't make that happen. So let's just give him a 1-year franchise, and if we can make it happen again the next year. Just keep them together as long as we can, but we can't commit to multi-year contracts for all of them.
Right.
That's my guess. I don't think it's that they don't want T or they hate T.
No,
or anything
it's
like that.
it's
I
a
think bad.
balancing act. It's a mathematical balancing act. The other thing that I have that I really like, and this is kind of a plug and play situation. Roster cap hits for dummies. This is a fun one. Basically, what I've done is I have taken your top 51 because top 51 players are the ones that get charged towards your cap. If you've got 60 players you're paying and 9 of them are league minimum, they don't count against your cap. So when you see teams, it's like, oh, they've only got $50,000 left. What are they going to do? And they sign 5 guys off the street. It's because they don't count against the cap. Basically, it's an injury provision so that you can still fill out your roster if shit hits the fan. But I've got this broken down by paying a quarterback. You've got a quarterback halfway kind of getting paid like Joe Burrow is right now, where he's going to have a hit of about 30 this year. or I've got a quarterback on a rookie deal. If you're paying a quarterback and they're, rule of thumb, you really don't want them exceeding 20% of your cap. Right now, that's about $51 million. The next 10 players, or players 2 through 10, they shouldn't exceed a total of 33% of your cap. Okay, so on average, those guys should be making about 8. And that's an average. You're going to have some guys make 20. You're going to have some guys make 4. That next group, those are guys that are, kind of just lumped in, those middle of the depth chart guys. Those are guys that should be about 33% of your roster, and they should be averaging about $4 million a player. So you're going to have some guys making 8 and some guys making 1. And then you've got those back 20. Those are all your rookie contracts and veteran minimums. Those guys should be about 8% of everything. So all things considered, if you do all that right, you actually have 10 to 15 million to roll over this year. What's fun is I decided to look at the Browns because they're up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. If you look at how they've split theirs up with Watson getting $64 million this year, he's 25% of everything. The suggested is 20% based on how I've just looked at all the NFL rosters. They're paying that one position 5% of their cap more than they probably should. The next 10 guys are eating up almost 50% of all of their cap space, which is 13% more than it should. They've got 11 players eating up almost 70% of their entire cap space. And they wonder why they're in trouble. So when we talk about Justin Jefferson, and then you talk about Jamar, and you talk about T, and you talk about Joe, well, with Joe, we are right here, kind of in the middle of paying a quarterback. Joe's going to be about 15%. Your next 10 players should eat up a total of $91 million. If T's getting 22 and Jamar's getting 33, you got a bunch of guys, 8 in theory, that aren't going to be making a whole lot of money between the 10 of them, between the 8 of them. And then I got to fill out the rest of my roster. It's a hard balancing act. So when I say I don't like paying 2 guys at the same position, this is the kind of stuff you run into. You run into a situation like Cleveland.
Your other 8 players would be averaging around 4.5 million each, which drops them into your next level down of your median players.
Right. So when you go back and look at Cleveland, what this tells me is they have a bunch of guys, players 12 to 31, that set of 20, that core guy outside of your stars, right? They're not making any money. So if you have a couple stars go down, and keep in mind the way it's set up for Cleveland is outside of Watson, it's Garrett, Denzel Ward, Amari Cooper. Outside of that, there's no depth anywhere. They've paid for a bunch of stars and no depth. They've front-loaded their roster. You wonder how the Bengals can compete when they get all these injuries, and you wonder how some teams can't. It's how they stack the tiers of their roster and who they're paying.
You look at their D-line. Their D-line's pretty stacked, though, man. Maurice Hurst, you have Zadarius Smith, Michael Hall, that rookie out of Ohio State.
Yeah, and then what's great is they're not paying those guys.
Yeah.
That's how they're able to get away with the Deshaun Watson contract.
Right.
So I went even a step further, and I'm like, how would I try and fix the Browns? Well, you move on from 2 guys making about $20 million in that tier, which is Amari Cooper and Denzel Ward, and then you redistribute. Because if you look on the right where it says 2 players, $20 million per 40 total, if I drag that 40 down into that tier 3 for players 12 to 31, I can get 10 quality players to fill out the rest of my depth chart with that money. That's $40 million. You're talking about giving T 30. At $4 million a pop, that's 7 or 8 players that I could be paying to fill out the competitive part of my roster. These aren't the rookies. These aren't the backups. These are your regular people on your roster that you are required to have that are going to help you win a championship. Every time you pay somebody $20 to $40 million, like Jamar and T, you're losing 9 players elsewhere. That's how that really breaks out. So that's why I don't like paying too many guys, too many top dollars, because you end up like Cleveland.
Right.
It's a cautionary tale of go ahead and do it, but it's going to be really, really, really difficult to readjust your roster on the back end. And you're going to have a lot of rookies that you can't cut. And you're going to have to rely on them a lot.
No, I hear what you're saying, buddy. I mean, like after 2026, what do you think Cleveland's plans for Watson? Do you think he's their long-term plan? Do you think they're now thinking,
well, you can't cut him.
Right. Like you think they're saying, let's just get through this contract in 2026 or whatever. And
you kind of have to, because no one's going to trade for the contract. Nobody.
Never.
And you can't cut him because he has cut guarantees. So he's got, I think, $180 million left in fully guaranteed money on that contract. If they cut him today, they owe him that money today, and it becomes a cap hit today.
Yeah.
Which means they would have to find $180 million in cap space right now just to cut him. It is the worst contract I have ever seen.
So they will never cut him, right?
You can't. You absolutely can't.
Well, they can cut him going into his last year.
They could cut him going into the last year, which would be paying him. And then if you wanted to restructure it and, kick that $74 million 4 years down the road. Because, I mean, here's the thing. 7 years from now, $20 million cap hit is going to be manageable, but it's still $20 million. I mean, that right there, that's 4 players that contribute to a modern-day roster. It's just a shit show. You're almost better. And that's why I'm like, go ahead and trade some of your star players now, because it's going to take you 3 years to recover. Even if I just pay them and don't cut them, you kind of just have to hope it works out.
So the Bengals need to hope that Burton works out really, really well, or Yoshi or somebody really steps up.
But you know what always steps up? Midwest Best Barbecue, sponsor of this show. It never messes up. You know what never messes up also? Script Coffee. Always in a good morning, always in a good mood. And another thing that doesn't mess up, Three-Way City. I would not trade a three-way in for anything such as this three-way. Money, 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 money. What else am I got? Birmingham, anywhere but Minnesota. No, Montana. Yeah, that's right. Wrong one. Yeah. I would not trade it for anything. I that is my favorite Viking beer. My favorite Viking drink.
With that being said, you asked about 25. You've got one starting receiver on the roster at 25. So
you don't know that.
Well,
you don't know what happens with these other guys over here to the.
I don't know what happens with Burton. I've got Burton as a potential starter. That's why it's in green. Yoshi, I don't ever see him being a 1 or 2. I'm sorry. I know people love him. I just don't see it. The same with Charlie Jones. I think they're probably 4s on most rosters, and that's fine. That you need those guys. But that tells me I still need at least one more good starting receiver, even if Burton pans out, because this is assuming T won't be here. And if you go 2 years ahead to 26, I've got the whole roster about filled out. I mean, that when I do my mocks and I look at who's going to get cut and who's potentially going to be here, what are the targets going to be, this is the chart I use. 2 years from now, you have one running back who will be at the end of his contract. You have 4 years left to Joe Burrow. You have one receiver. Chase isn't on here, but we assume there's going to be an extension. I just don't. It's not in stone yet, so I don't put it on there.
Will it be this off season or next off season?
It should be this off season.
Well, I mean, because we got the money to pay someone. Do you think we could pay both him and CTB this off season, or is that not happening?
You should be able to pay both.
Okay.
Especially because you won't be
they need to find themselves one of those slightly above average receivers that's aging a little bit, that can give you a couple of decent years.
Okay, and Santori, I have to ask you this because I know
Mike Williams.
Santori, I know you're a realist on this, but people are raving about Yoshi. He put on weight. He's tearing it up at camp. What is your God honest truth about Yoshi going into this season?
First and foremost, every player puts on weight in the entire NFL going into camp because they do not weightlift during the season like they do in the offseason.
Right.
Every single year, every single player comes in buffed out of their mind looking like they're on a bunch of cc's of steroids.
Right.
That's normal. It's because they're going to wear down and thin out during the season.
Right.
I don't care how big a guy looks in August. He's going to look skinny in December. It is what it is. Yoshi is a tough one because he hasn't played football his whole life like these other guys. This
Right.
is the first full year of Andrei Yoshivas's life. First full year that he's ever dedicated to football and not being a decathlete, because I'm pretty
Right.
sure he was a decathlon.
Yeah, he was in the Olympics, I believe.
Yeah. So he's got every God-given gift that it takes to get to the NFL, and he was able to get here halfway focusing on it. I have no idea what he's going to do. I know Joe Burrow loves him. I know he had special packages last year. He was the, I think, second leading touchdown receiver on the team last year, believe it or not. He's kind of a wild card. I mean, he could end up being good. He could end up just being another guy.
Right.
It's been remarkably impressive to see how far he's gotten without ever focusing on football in his life.
Yeah.
Well,
last year I know you were a little concerned with him with the 2 drops against Cleveland, although he had 2 touchdowns. But you told me that kind of that you were a little upset with that, right? Or
he doesn't have natural hands. That's the one thing.
but that's fixable though, right?
Not at this level.
Okay.
I see him similar to the production of Auden Tate.
Oh, come on.
That's what I see.
Oh.
I just don't think he's going to be in the game very often. And when he's in the game, he's not going to get targeted too often.
I think he could be number 2 for a couple of teams.
No, I haven't seen that yet. I think he I think he's got the build, he's got the speed, he's got all those elements.
But
I
Troy
just don't-
Walter is one of the best receiver coaches in the league, correct?
He is, but what he's missing is that, I mean, let's call him 22 years old. I don't know how old he is. Let's just say 22 for a one-year vet in the NFL. As a 22-year-old, he's missing 15 years of football polish that these other guys have.
Right.
I know that's taking it back to Pee Wee, but that shit matters. You always hear about a guy that gets drafted. Oh, it's his first year playing football. They never do anything.
Oh, no. Who was that guy who played for the Seahawks? Came out of West Virginia, didn't play till he was like 19 or 20. Remember, he got drafted really high in the first round. You might remember who I'm talking about.
Kinda.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look him up. But no, Yoshi is 24.
That's another problem.
And he turns 25 in October 15th.
Getting worse. He's past his age of development. So wherever he's at now, this is now the age of sustainability. This is what's considered a prime spot.
Right.
So he's already in his prime. And everybody's hoping for this leap that he could be a 1,000-yard guy. That doesn't happen. I'm
But
not
like
saying it can't.
This
But
is his first
traditionally
time.
speaking, it
But
does
to go
not.
back to what you were saying, it's his first time focusing 100% on football.
That's why I'm going to give him like a 5% chance.
Dang, dude. All right, that's fine.
He's a fun kid to watch. I mean, he's a really, really good athlete. You're awfully late in the game.
Remember when
Awfully
you
late.
give up on Jay Kumaro? Look, he did somewhat for good for the Packers.
Yeah, great. For like a year.
Okay.
Touchdown Jesus.
Yeah.
But then you got 2 tight ends on the roster. You might have 2 offensive linemen total. And this is normal. I'm not trying to scare people.
No, it's yeah.
But it just shows you that in the NFL, it truly is 4 years turns over an entire roster.
Right.
And when you look at what you've got right now, and people go, "Hey, what's your Super Bowl window?" 2 years from now, it's kind of shaky based on what you look at right here. The guy at the very, very top of the list makes you feel good about it.
Right.
Well, I think one of the first things the Bengals are always going to do is reload at the skilled positions for Burrow.
They
Right.
always have.
So next year in the draft, I would be surprised if they didn't take a receiver in the first or second round.
Look at you being a draftologist.
He did say that. He did
This
say that.
this is how it works.
No. I know. I'm looking at no. There's one guy like Santori plays for Missouri. His name is Luther. Got my name. Sign me up for that guy.
He is the epitome of average, and it is a bad wide receiver class.
Oh, would you stop it?
I've already watched about 10 guys. I'm not impressed.
Well, give him some time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching their film from last year. I'm not watching their new film where they have that next step. But thank you for entertaining me with my what I look at on a daily basis for roster building and cap numbers, and people wonder where I pull all these numbers out of. It's not out of thin air. It's not out of my ass. There's a lot of spreadsheets that go into all of this that I'm constantly working on. I mean, these are almost all just football things.
Oh my,
Just years
that's a long list.
Years of just compiling stupid data.
Can you put up data about the prices at the stadium, like the price of beer? I can't believe that is not true.
That
It's
was bad. So for
That's
those of
not
you that
true.
don't know, Drunk Bengals fan put this out there today, and it was funny. He said the average price of a beer at Paycor Stadium, and we were the lowest in the NFL. The average price of beer. Dad, what would you guess? You don't even drink beer. What would you guess the average price is?
At an NFL stadium?
At Paycor,
Well,
specifically.
I saw what he put on there,
Yeah.
but I would say the average is probably like $9.50.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
$9.
they had the
$9.50.
Bengals at $6.
There's no way that's true.
There's no way.
Absolutely not.
No, I see people pay $10 for a long neck of Bud Light in there all the time.
Yeah. If that was the case, the whole stadium would be even more. Oof.
$6. My God.
That
No.
doesn't even get you a hot dog.
No, it doesn't.
February, how much is a Pepsi? You guys would know this better than I would. How much is a Pepsi at the game?
All right. I am a pro at Pepsi's at the game. Do you know why?
Because you get them all the time.
Well, here's the thing.
The souvenirs.
And I'm going to have Ashley watch this because there's not a whole lot on my game day experience that I spend money on.
Right.
I spend probably, because I have to buy them secondhand, and it kills me because I probably spend the most money of anybody in Cincinnati on parking because I spend probably $120,
Right.
$120 to park in that stupid lot where we do all of our stuff
Right.
per game. I spend probably $1,000 a year on parking down there. It's where we're at. It's what we do. It's a great cause. I'm very happy to do it. I hate it when I have to pull the trigger. It is what it is. It's part of what I spend up for my year. The other giant portion of what I spend on a game day is when I'm going up the escalator and there's a concession stand behind the first escalator behind
Oh, yeah. It's not
where,
bad.
where one of the club entrances are.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a bathroom and like a secret concession stand that nobody's ever at. It is
Absolutely.
in and out.
No.
Right?
No, I thought that was only for the people at the, you know what?
Nope. Ash and I abuse that concession stand. I will go down the escalator to go to that concession stand. With that being said, she gets a large souvenir popcorn
Right.
every home game and a large souvenir Pepsi every home game.
Right.
I have probably 15 of those plastic buckets of popcorn.
You keep the bucket?
She keeps every bucket and every cup. I have an entire flatware set that I could just serve you on plastic Bengals stuff
What do you
that
use it
actually
for?
made me keep
What
it.
do you use the popcorn bucket for?
I don't. She'll put more. She eats popcorn like it's a meal here. I'll come home and she's sitting there with her Bengal bucket of popcorn, watching a Disney movie, and we'll be sitting at dinner. And I'll have a nice dinner plate that her grandmother left us. She left us some fine china, and it'll be this fine china plate in a Bengal 20-ounce plastic holographic mug.
Right. Oh my god!
We've got to have 20 of those things just floating around.
So they do sell souvenir popcorn. Okay, that's right. They do.
She buys one of those. Sometimes she'll buy two. I'll be like, "Hey, here's my card. Go get. I need a hot dog and a Pepsi, and I'll be good for the whole game." I don't really move. I don't go anywhere. I probably don't even go to the bathroom during a game. Dad, you've been to games, 100,000 games with me. I don't really go anywhere. I'm pretty stationary. And she'll come back every single time with 2 souvenir cups that I believe are $11.25 a piece, and a souvenir popcorn that I believe is $13. And she'll go, I got this stuff. And I'm like, you spent $47 on a bag of popcorn, a hot dog, and a Pepsi. And she's like, it's the memories. It's a White Tiger cup. I'm like, it's not the White Tiger game. This is week 9. We experienced that already. Those are the leftover cups.
Bengal Day, do you spend much when you go to Reds or a Bengals game? Or
Oh my God, no.
No.
I get sucked into it.
You used to line the inside of your hoodies with peanut butter and jelly.
I was gonna say, you stick it with PB&J.
When my dad and I used to go to games, they used to allow you to walk in with like a satchel.
Yeah.
And we would have a Bengal thermos that was full of hot chocolate.
Oh, cool.
And we'd have, I don't know, 2 or 3 or 4 sandwiches that were in there and some potato chips.
Oh, there
We
you go.
would never leave. I would never go to the bathroom. My dad wouldn't go to the bathroom. We sat in our seats in section 341. It's like row 17. We were around the 43-yard line. Never changed. And that was it. We had the same thing every game.
Right.
We passed the same urinals on the way up. It was
Every season ticket holder has their path to their seat, and mine is the exact same every single game.
Right.
We go in through and Kieran showed me this one. Dad, I don't know if you've done this with me yet. You'll have to next year.
Oh, the entrance. Yeah.
I go through the journalism entrance. There's no wait.
No.
I've done it probably 5 or 6 times. You walk straight in. I'm not going to tell everybody where it's at because that's my entrance, and I don't want it to get plugged up. You might wait for a total of 15 seconds, and you're at the very, very base of the stadium. I got to climb probably 4 or 5 ramps, and I'm back on the maintenance mezzanine level, whatever it is. I go up 1 flight of stairs, and then the pro shop's on my right. I wrap around that, hit my elevator or escalator, get my $47 worth of popcorn and Pepsi, go to the bathroom for the one time, which, by the way, I love those Bengal overalls you and Kim got me, but going to the bathroom with those is a pain in the ass.
Yikes.
You got to take the whole thing off. There's no poop flap back there.
Oh.
Then we go back up the escalator. I climb a billion stairs up in 317, 307, whichever it is. I don't even remember.
307.
307, row 18, seat 14, and I sit down. Ashley's next to me. Matt and his family's next to him. Greg's like 2 rows in diagonal behind me with James.
Yeah.
And then there's a kid named Kevin that sits next to me. And I don't know anything about Kevin. I know he does not like Zach Taylor's play calling, and I high five him after every win. And that's Kevin. And I have the same exact path, the same exact routine, and I'm gonna eat, I guess, the same taco 18 times this year.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, my path changes this year, so I don't know what it's going to look like.
Yeah, you went bougie.
I went bougie.
Mr.
What do you
Club,
mean? Where did you
Club
do?
seats.
Oh my gosh.
It certainly helps when you have inclement weather, and when it is freezing cold.
No, it is true. My brother has that too.
It
So
helps.
when it's ice cold outside for a December game this year, and it's not snowing, it's raining, and it's 22 degrees and there's mud everywhere, Kim is going to trade me her seat, right? And I can go in the club seat and she can go sit out in 305.
Jim, are you going to trade your seat? Are you trading your
I
seat?
think you're out of luck.
Oh, damn. I'm not saying she was the driving force behind you moving into the club seats.
She was 1,000% the driving force. 4 times the money for a ticket to go watch the same exact game. She was the driving force.
She didn't have to give up.
But at least, and the other problem with my other seat was it was in section 317.
You were jammed in the corner. It was awful.
Yeah, I was in 317, and there was only one staircase going down. So everybody funneled past me to and fro zillions of times a game. So I had to stand for every game. And every game I had to look at Kim, and she said, "These seats suck." That's the game day experience. So yeah, we're going bougie. I haven't had club seats since 2000, since stadium opened.
No, Bengal Day. My brother had them, and I'm not gonna lie. There was one game I went to where it was cold, and I'm like, "Oh, this is nice going inside." So you might run into my brother. Is it the opposite side of the stadium where the sun is going off on you, pretty much? Like, you know what I'm talking
Are
about?
you on the Bengals side or are you on
The visitor side.
What side are we on? I don't even
Oh
know.
my god! How do
Are
you
we on
not
Bengals
know?
side?
Yeah.
We're on the Bengals side.
Oh yeah, okay, my brother's on the
Bengals are off of my right shoulder.
Okay.
That's where they're at.
So you guys are going to be sitting underneath the bathroom that I use.
Yeah, we're sitting directly below where my seat was. I think we're in 217 or 216 or something.
Oh, by the way, I have an announcement. One of our sponsors. Shout out to Midwest Best for winning Best Wings of the City from City Beat. Good job,
I saw
guys.
that.
Good job. That is so cool because
It's because they're not smoked, they're not fried, they're not baked, they're smoke-a-fried.
Smoke fried.
They do
no.
it right.
Glenn Goodberry, when he came over, he was asking me questions. Are they smoked or are they fried? I'm like, no, they're just chicken wings.
They're both. They're smoke-a-fried.
They're smoked and fried, correct?
Smoke-a-fried.
So do you smoke them first, then fry them?
Yes.
Okay, cool. But congrats.
We'll have to get them on here one day and expose all of their cooking secrets.
I don't think that. Well, okay, we'll see.
And when the Bengals do that thing again, where they have a vote for putting food in the stadium, we need to really, really push that.
Oh, absolutely. Now, Dan, who was your vote for Ring of Honor? Who do you want to? You don't have to discuss it. Or did you vote for Ring of Honor yet?
Yeah, I voted for Crumry and James Brooks.
Oh, okay.
2 guys that probably aren't going to make it, but 2 guys to me that would just exemplified that 88 team.
Okay.
They'll make it eventually.
No, they will.
It's
Everybody
so
will take it on
background.
that list. Just a matter of time.
Yeah.
It's more of a popularity contest than it is. I don't want to say talent because everybody's talented that gets in, but I just kind of like lunch pail guys. I like those guys that are try hard guys that put forth a ton of effort and they just don't come out of games unless they break their leg in the Super Bowl.
No.
I like guys like that.
Here's one that I'm going to ask if you would put in, because to me, there is one specific memory of this player that exemplifies what you just said, and I hate it, but it is true, and you'll understand it when I get there. Does Tyler Boyd eventually get in the Ring of Honor?
Yeah, he should.
I think he 100% should.
He was here for a long time.
Yeah, you're right. He
He did
went-
hardly anything wrong,
He went
and
through
he
the
was a
shit.
big piece of that puzzle.
Well, he went through the shit storm that was the end of the Marvin, beginning of Zach Taylor era. And as much as I didn't want him to do it, I'll never forget him being on one leg during that Dolphins game,
Oh my god.
crawling down the field just to make sure he could get in position for the next play. I was like, dude, you have no idea how much as a coach and a fan that just warms me that you would do that for this organization. But this is not the time.
No, I felt like Mickey in the movie Rocky, where Rocky goes down. He's like, "Down, stay down."
No, I
No, I get what you're saying.
I wish. I know we didn't get to really talk much about it. And this will be the final point of the show tonight. But I wish all the best to Tyler Boyd wherever he's at. He never ran his mouth. He never said trade me. He never said I quit. And he had every opportunity and every right to for probably the first 3 to 4 years of his career.
Where did he wind up going?
Tennessee with Callahan.
Well, I don't wish him luck when we play Tennessee.
I wish
But
him
other than
luck.
that, yes.
I
Will
wish him luck. Yeah, well, good luck with Will.
mayonnaise and coffee.
Ugh. But I wish him well, and I hope he's in the Ring of Honor one day because he's one of those. To me, he was like having TJ again.
Mhm.
He's very dependable. He's very gritty. He had a little bit of some flash to him, but it wasn't over the top. It was kind of just that right level of, I'm going to beat you. And then he had fun with it.
You probably won't go to the Ring of Honor, but you want to talk about a guy you respect, Teddy Karras. Are you guys happy? Another year extended on his contract. I think we all kind of saw that coming. I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, if he's here like another 7 years, we'll go in the Ring of Honor. But no, I love Ted.
It helps the line.
It does. The question is,
Continuity.
we got to
helps
get another
everything.
guard. We don't have any backup guards. I don't know what we're doing right now in free agency. I mean,
You got 3 guards.
what?
You got 3.
Who are they?
You got technically you got 4. Kappa, Volson, and then Karras in an emergency. It'd be a weird emergency. He is a left guard by trade,
Right.
and Trent Brown has been playing right guard at practice.
Why is that? But like,
I don't know, but
But
that's
Kappa-
the fact that they would have 700 pounds on one side of the line is
But
kind
no,
of
you
fun.
would rather have him replace Volson, wouldn't you? Because Kappa's doing is more. What do I know?
I don't know. You know, I'm not in the room. I'm not in the building. I don't know what they're doing. I don't see what they see. But the fact of having Orlando, that's probably a package they're working on where they've just got Orlando Brown, Trent Brown, and Mims out there at the same time. And that's over.
And can we blow a hole open for Chase Brown and go 80?
Right. I mean, what do you call that unit? The ton? Like,
But Santori, I'm just I think we still need to have one more running back. I really don't feel with one of these undrafted rookies. I just think we need to have one more running back.
I think what'll probably happen is running backs are so devalued.
Yeah.
That there's going to be so many guys over the course of the NFL season that either just don't get signed or are unprotected practice squads that they're not worried. And if Zach Moss or Chase Brown goes down, they'll just pluck somebody and go with it.
My son has a theory. He's already told me who he thinks the Bengals are going to pick up.
P. Ryan.
Yeah, I do think that's going to happen. They're Denver's loaded at running back.
Yeah. Also, cornerback position. Who's going to be the starter? Santori, who do you put your money on? DJ Turner or Dax Hill?
DJ Turner.
Yeah, Dax Hill. I'm sorry.
I think Dax is supposed to be having a decent camp. I know it's all noise at this point
It
in the
is. That's what
offseason.
they always say that.
Why can't there's so
But I'll say this: I've seen a couple plays from Dax that they have put out there where he looked awfully good inside, and I've always said he belongs closer to the ball. You know, the difference between playing slot corner and outside corner is very, very different. But the difference between playing those two spots as opposed to deep middle safety,
Mhm.
you know, the two corner spots now look very, very, very similar. It could be a comfortability factor. It really could. It is what it is. I don't think it's going to work, but I think it's worth a shot.
Eli Apple.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Guys, I'm going to jump off of here.
I got to go to the market anyway.
I got to go to bed.
All right.
All right, good show.
Are you going to do the thing?
You can do the thing.
I don't know where it's at. There it is.
And right into the stretch. Looking back and throws up the middle. Rose is on his way around. Picked up by Otis.
Here comes the ready or not. Here comes the boys from the south. Here comes the ready or not.